let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a. Yo, what up, yo? Welcome to another one, man. It's your boy Rob One, and this is Sparking Conversation. And y'all know what I do each and every week, man. I get up here and I talk to some of the world's most interesting people. But this week, we're not gonna do that, right? All right. So I don't have any guests tonight. So I need you guys, all the guys, all of y'all that's gonna be watching tonight. This is what I need. It's gonna be us tonight, right? Because it's a lot going on in the world, and I think that every now and then it's good to have these shows. Now, last week, I wasn't supposed to be able to, well, not be able to, but I wasn't supposed to, run it through like that because I did have a guest schedule. And for some reason, the connection where they were, it just wasn't cooperating. So we had to reschedule. I got them back on the calendar coming in later on in the summer, but we got them back on because I think their story is important. But outside of that, we kept the show moving, we kept the show going, and so last week was an impromptu. Let me give y'all this because a lot of times when I have a guest, I try to prepare the show in a way where if the guests don't show up, I can still run the show, I can still do the show, and but it takes a little less research and digging whenever I know I got a guest, because whenever I got a guest, most of the time, well, not most of the time, all the time, I reach out to the guests ahead of time before they get on the show, before their show date. I send out alerts and reminders to make sure that they all, that they get it, you know what I mean? So they know that it's coming up, and the whole nine. So I just basically communicate. No matter how far out I schedule my guests, I always communicate with them, ahead of time before the show. But still, sometimes the day of the show, things don't work out. So I try to be prepared. But when I do have a guest and, I research my guests before they come on, because a lot of my guests, they'll send me something of theirs, right? And say, yo, this is me. This is what I'm about. Check this out. And I'll go through it and I'll check them out and I'll see what's going on with them. And that'll help me with the conversation that I have with them once they come on. But, sometimes, it's just one of them things where, you got to be over prepared for things, right? And I think that's another thing when it comes down to this content creation game and this platform game that can turn people off. I can understand that because, sometimes you have it in your mind the way things are supposed to go, and they don't necessarily go that way. Word up. You got to pivot and you got to move around and you got to adjust and you got to be prepared, right? Like to be able to do those things when the time comes. So, every now and then, man, it gets a little tough, right? Because a lot of people think this is easy to do. Like running a platform, they think it's easy to do this part, being in the front, right? They think that's the easy part, but it takes so much stuff behind the scenes, right? It takes so much stuff that you got to do after you do the show that makes it like, yo, this is work, right? But when you're doing your purpose and when you in your purpose and you're doing something you love to do, it don't really come off as a job, but it's still gonna be work. It just don't come off as a job, and I think that's the thing. Well, that's the difference, right? Between having to work and having a job. It's just like two totally different things. And it's within the hustle, the way your mindset is set up, the way you look at that. But yeah, man. But shout out to all my listeners, right? Shout out to all the people that download the audio version of this platform. Now, y'all know I appreciate y'all. I know I already started chopping it up, but yeah, I gotta thank those people each and every week because, like I said, it's really dope to know that people are out there anticipating the show and wanting to hear, what we talking about and what my guests are talking about when I do have guests on. So double shout out to y'all. So what I'm gonna do is, because like I said, the comments are wide open. I have to do, a lot of times I forget. People hit me later on and they be like, yo, did you share your live? And I'm like, damn, you know what? I didn't. Because I'd be too busy trying to get into the show. And that's one of the things about, or the problems about, doing things yourself. Now, there's a thing where, in your purpose and in your mission, you're gonna have to be the one that jumps out there, right? You're gonna have to be the person that is sent out before everybody else and deal with everything that you got to deal with that the world throws at you, and then bring it back to the people and tell them, yo, this is what's going on over there. So it's not like that's not a thing that's not expected when you are a leader, or when you're the leader of anything. You leading, being a boss and being a leader is two different things, right? But when you are the leader, that means you got to go and you got to do it, regardless of who do it or regardless of what's going on. But you know, there 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 comes a time where you can only go so far by yourself, and you're gonna need help. You're gonna get to a point where shit gonna start clicking. And the more things click, the more help you're gonna need. And see, sometimes it don't take a whole lot of people in order for you to get the help you need. It's just that it gotta be certain people in certain positions, because everybody don't need to do everything, right? But you need help when you get to a certain position. So, I am thankful for all the help I do get for the things that I am doing, you know what I mean? Because I am doing a lot. And I'm not gonna hold y'all. Uh a lot of things are done because it's just always been in me to be that person, right? To believe in themselves and to do things that require you to use a gift that you was given. And for the most part, I know it's a lot of people out here who don't, who just do whatever they feel like they can do. They don't really focus in on your gifts. But I'm thankful for all the people that helped me. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like I really have a mission, and it's a really dope situation going on. And yeah, get to that point where you got to realize and recognize, you know what I mean, as much as you like to be this person that do everything and be in the mix of everything that's involved in what you got going on, a lot of times, y'all, you're gonna have to humble yourself, right? Because that's what the spirit wants you to do. Like, if you really think about it, it wants you to humble yourself enough for you to understand when you need help. And then once you release that in the energy, then the universe can send you who you need and what you need, because you got to be willing to be that person that is recognizing what you need, because it's always going to come to you. The more you do these things and the more things start to grow for you, the more you're going to start to recognize, okay, yeah, this can't keep going this way, because success is only measured to most people based on a dollar amount that you accumulate based on the things that you do. But that's not always success. That's the reward of what you put in. The success is the fact that you're doing something that you started with in here. This is why, for a lot of people, I'm going to get into the show and the topics and stuff like that. But for all my people out here that's doing anything that got to deal with content creation or just believing in yourself, or using your gifts and talents, I want y'all to just understand this one thing right here, yo. Word up. You know, there's something in the fact that you tried. Now, I know it's a lot of people that try things and it didn't always work out. They may felt like, they kept trying and this ain't the third. No, that's not the failure. The failure is not in trying. The failure is when you don't try at all, because how you gonna know if something gonna work if you don't try? Now, secondly, right? You know, I don't believe that everybody that was born just to run a regular routine. Now, I understand there's NPCs out here and people who enjoy the comfortability of their routine, right? I understand that, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that regardless of the person that's in that comfortable space or not, listen, you was meant to do more than that. So for the people that believe in themselves enough to spiritually connect and be able to draw within the gifts that they was given and be able to stand on that enough to believe in it, to where, yeah, you might got to do what you got to do to pay your bills. You know what I mean? I'm not putting down people who got 9 to 5s and doing all these extra things, doing Uber and door dashing and all that extra shit to bring stuff in. But that's cool. But the people that I'm talking about is the ones who take those hustles and they do what they got to do to pay them bills, but they don't allow that to be they all, and they end all be all. They still focus on the things that they know that they was here to do. And I promise you, it's right there. Don't give up. Don't look left and right. Don't worry about who not supporting. Don't worry about the views and the likes and shit on a day-to-day basis. Don't worry about it. This shit is like the stock market, what we doing when we doing this shit right here, yo. Word up. It's not about you the day-to-day dollar price and all that. Unless you trading. If you trading yourself for things, then it's about that. That's for the people that concentrate on their jobs, because most people trade time for money. So the people who trade time for money for the amount that they get paid for, that's what they doing. That's you on a trading day to day. But if you an investor, if you're a person that's really looking for longevity, really looking for wealth, that means you got to invest. That means you got to put your shit into shit that's growing. It's growing at a certain percentage every time you invest in it. Yeah, go up and down, just like our life each and every day, right? Some days are good, some days are bad, some days in between. That's the same thing. But you got to keep putting it in there, right? You got to keep your eye on a bigger goal, which means that you might have to do some little sacrificing. Everybody got extra money. It's just where you choose to spend the money that you do spend. Then that's the extra. Not many people will sacrifice moments of fun just so they can have lifetime of fun, right? Some people won't do that. They look at every holiday coming up, they want to spend money. Every situation coming up, they want to spend money, but they won't take the time to sacrifice, to put in the work real quick. Take a year or so, put in that work real quick, and then that way you can have years of vacation, years of fun, not just moments every time something turn around. People always chasing fun, but they won't chase freedom. And I'm here to help motivate those people that want to chase freedom, because it comes to a point in time where you want to be in control of your time. You want to be in control of that. You know what I mean? Not in control of people, not in control of people's thoughts. You want to be in control of your time. And if that's not your goal, that's fine. That's not me trying to push any type of lifestyle on a person. What I'm saying is that, yo, if you're going to get up each and every day to go do something for somebody else, how you not going to do nothing for yourself? Everybody will try to guilt trip you too. Don't allow people to guilt trip you for what you, first of all, before people even enter in your life, and no matter what the capacity of it is, they should know who you are before they agree to be there. Because that's what happens in a lot of different situations until you get in certain situations where people, and then things change over the years. That's inevitable because people are going to grow. Things are going to grow no matter what. It's the same thing. What you invest is going to grow a certain way. Now, it's either going to grow where you like or grow where you don't. But either way it go, you got a choice in order to see there if you want to continue to grow with it. And that's the point. But when it comes down to your purpose, you don't have no choice. At least not to me. You're supposed to be putting in just as much effort into that than you do anything else. It don't matter. I don't care about what you do to pay your bills, right? But like your gifts and your ability should be something that you use, that you do to help can take control of your time. And if it brings in the money that you need in order to pay your bill, then double whammy for you. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it really can get to a place where your gifts and abilities can pay for the things that you need in life. For real, that's dope. But we all should have, and I'm not saying it in a way where I'm telling people what to think. That's why I'm using the word should. We should all have the mentality of multiple streams of income. None of us should have all our eggs in one basket. Having one of anything is close to having none of anything. Being real, one job, one business, one property, it's just as close to having none, because if that one thing goes, then what's next? Right? So we all got to be in the mindset of multiple streams. So the more you invest in those things, especially the things that you can own, when it comes down to this content and stuff that we produce, right, that we put out, you know, let's be real. We put it on platforms that we do not own. That's a different thing. But because those platforms need the content, then it's an opportunity for you to get paid for your content. Let's be real. It's a certain thing called partnership. That's what I mean in the beginning. Like, yo, you can only go so far by yourself. I could do all these things and have all these things right here, but not putting it or partnering with people in order to get it to the next room level. It's just going to sit there and just look like it's a hobby. But then again, you got to be careful about how you go into things. That's why the more work you put into and the more shit you plant, and the more you don't look for handouts from other people. That's just like for all my actors out there, all the rappers, all the singers, whatever you doing. If you're in fashion and shit like that, If you got your clothing lines or whatever, you got a brand of some sort, whatever it is, yo. Word. There's no way you should be looking to sign and give your stuff away to another person. Like the way you build your shit up is the way that you gotta pay attention to whatever somebody else said they're gonna do. But for so much of us, we don't do that. We got so many actors who's waiting on some agent to send them something to audition for, whether they get it or not, because it makes them look like something. My thing is that what you waiting on, I'm saying still do that when they send it to you, right? But if that's your thing, but how long are we going to be in something that we know we meant to do and we're looking for somebody else to give us the opportunity? Why can't we give it to ourselves? Like, what's so wrong with you starting from a place that helps you build who you are saying that you are? What's wrong with that? Most people don't want to do that. They want to go straight to running. They want to go straight to running. They don't want to crawl before they walk. But they don't understand that the crawling is what's going to keep you paid later on. Because think about it, for all the people that's doing what I'm doing right now, skits, short films, all this other shit. Yo, all it takes is for one thing to blow. All it takes is for one opportunity for shit to blow. Then everything that you invested in ain't gonna do nothing but grow from behind. And then think about that, yo. But then as much as you put in, that's as much as gonna be a return. So that's the mentality that we all gotta have when you in this game of content creation, or you in this game of liberation. That's what you're supposed to be, your freedom. Right? Liberating in your freedom, yo. We're not supposed to be sitting around here asking people for time off. We're not supposed to be sitting around here asking nobody to give me an opportunity. Yo, fam, yo, can I get on your show and rock out? Yo, my man, can I get like if this what you do, if you an artist, you should be partnering up with podcasting people. If you a model, you should be partnering up with clothing lines. If you an actor, you should be partnering up with people who do content creation, period. And especially if they doing skits and shit, because what you waiting on? What's the role you looking to get? Right? Everybody can use the exercise, right? It's the same thing. Like everybody can use practice. Like you ain't that good where you don't have to practice. Even the best people in the world that's the top of their game is because they practice. Now I know AI was one of them that said, though, why I gotta practice? I know how to play basketball, which is cool, but he got all his practice by growing up playing basketball. So either way it go, the way you look at it, the way that he was able to be as nice as he is, because he had to work on his game. So either way it go, he had to play the game of basketball. So that's what I'm saying. When it comes to anything else, you got to get in the gym. You can't wait for somebody to give you something. You got to get out there and get it, or you got to get with like-minded people that's doing it so you can get with it, yo. Word. And stop being a person that's just waiting on somebody to give you some shit, because I'm telling you, the more you in debt to other people and not have no investment in what you have, the more you just gonna look like a work for hire. The more people are not gonna take you serious. They're gonna be like, oh, they always available. They just waiting for somebody to call them. They always available. It should look like you working at all times. It should look like people have to really value your time. It shouldn't look like you just out here doing nothing. Especially if you're a model. Like if you're a model, you're supposed to be linked up with a clothing line from the start. Like that's just a fact. Because what you modeling? Your face, your body, what you modeling? Like what is that? Like what is that all together? Is it everything together? I bet. So if you're doing all that, then what is it that you giving off? Right? Like what you giving off? Like what you want people to get from the fact that you in front of the camera? What you want them to get? Do you want them to get the fact that you just cute, or do you want them to understand that whatever brand that you want to get in front of, that you can sell an article or something, right? Because that's the reason why they're gonna pick you up. They're gonna say you gotta look to help sell their stuff. They're not gonna just get you because you gotta look. Like, they looking at you trying to figure out if you can help them sell some products. So they're gonna use you regardless. I don't care about none of that other shit. We could go all around it if you want to, but at the end of the day, like if you're a model, you should be linked up with a clothing line. Period. If you're a photographer, like think about this though. This is what makes it so corny about whatever scene a person is in, because so many people just looking to take from somebody versus putting in and adding to, right? Because the photographers, the clothing lines, the models, the actors, the rappers, the singers, All of them should be, it should be a network of just that group of people, because the clothing line could get with the rappers are going to get with the models for the videos, the people who are in the videos, they got the photographers, they like, this is all one movement. Like if it moved around the right way, if people got out of their own way and stopped looking for somebody to pay them for some shit. Like, listen, why let somebody pay you $100 when you can make 1,000? That's crazy to me, right? Get a job. Like, yo, if you looking for somebody to pay you just for being somewhere all the time and you not willing to put in the work to make the money, then get a job. That way you don't got to do. That's why that's what makes you only pick certain things that you know that you could be a part of that means something. Not just be available because somebody hit you up and they want to do something. All models shouldn't be in front of all photographers' cameras just to have pictures. Like, no, if you're an actor, you look, you could, somebody could book you for a role and they could pay you. And then now you in the movie, a movie might not ever come out, and it might, but you might be the best talent in there. But if you ain't in the opening scenes and stuff like that, where they got terrible other actors in it, ain't nobody gonna get to see you. And I get it, you got paid, right? But was it really worth your time if people can't see your art or can't see your work? It's just too many different things that we use in order to go around shit instead of going through it. Like, yo, listen, if you believe in yourself enough, then you gotta listen, it's people out here that are like you. It's just, what are you putting in the atmosphere? How do you feel? Right? Like, how do you feel? Like, it's not so much about, yo, what am I going to get from another person, or who going to be ready to book me for like, listen, look, get together with a group of people that's hot, that's serious about what they do, right? Check their social medias. That's another thing about social media. When you go to people say they whatever. Then when you go to their platforms, that's what you should see. You shouldn't see a bunch of pictures of their kids. You shouldn't see a bunch of pictures of their food unless they chefs and all that. If that's not what they do, you shouldn't be see like, yo, whatever it is that they do, you should see more of that than you see all the other stuff. I'm not saying not show your personality, right? What I'm saying is that if you saying that you are something, then that's what people should see when they go to your joint. They should see that you represent, you standing on what you say you are. If you're an investor out there, or if you're a person that's into investing, people should see that, right? When they go to your page, I bet you want them to see that you are, religious, or you want them to see that, you got, you had Franks and beans last night. That's fine. Whatever you want them to see, but they should be seeing more, whatever it is that you do. That's just a fact, right? There's no way somebody should go to your page. You should tell somebody something, and then when they find you on social media, they don't see that, right? And nowadays, how can you only be one thing, right? And I still ain't shared my live. I was supposed to be sharing it, but hopefully anybody that's watching right now, if y'all want to do me a favor and share it in some of the podcast groups, do that for me, man, because I'm already 20 minutes in and I ain't said nothing about none of my topics. I just been going because, sometimes I feel like we need that. If you really real about what you're doing, sometimes we need motivation. And if nobody else is listening to me, it's for me, myself, right? Because I have those days, man, where I feel defeated. I have those days where I feel like, I'm drowning. I have those days where I feel like I'm not going to be able to get it all. I have those days where I feel like I don't want to do none of this shit no more. I have those days where it just come out of nowhere. And you got to fight through all that, because we know where that comes from. That don't come from a place of a person whose really mindset is to be free. That comes from somebody who has a set of comfortability. And that's what I don't want to do, right? Because the only thing that can allow a person to not keep going when they know that they're supposed to is because they already got a fallback, right? They got some type of thing that they could lean on, if nothing else. And we saying like, nah, hold up, bro. Like, yeah, you might have that, but you know how things go, man. You know how things change as well, too. Like, yo, it's one day here, the next day there. So it's not like it's a guarantee, no matter what job you work for. So as long as you are paying your bills on the fact that somebody else is giving you an opportunity and not all for you, you always got to be in a position where you stand on your own square. You always do. You don't get the opportunity to not. I don't care. You feel like you're so secure in certain things. And look, AI is running through. AI is running through and it's so advanced and it's getting even more advanced to the fact that, listen, you thinking it, I bet. All right. Keep waiting on somebody to give you something God already gave you. God already gave you everything you need. You don't gotta go look for it. You don't gotta go, you don't have to. He already gave it to you. You just gotta focus in on it. Put in the work. Get with the people that's doing what they're supposed to do, getting the work. If you somebody friend out there, let's put it to you like this. There's no such thing as somebody being your friend if they don't want you to get right. Huh? There's no such thing as a person saying they're your friend and they don't support you. They ain't your friend. Period. You know, that's just people you know very well, or you've been knowing for a long time, or people you get along with. It's okay to be all right saying that it's people you get along with. All those things make it okay to get through the day and go through functions and get together. But when a person is your friend, then they don't want they understand the vibe, yo. They know that you doing something that they feel like is constructive, is positive. You ain't robbing, stealing, killing. You ain't doing hard to nobody out there. They support. Why wouldn't they support you? Why wouldn't they share your shit? Why wouldn't they like and comment on your stuff? If they your friend, you don't have to ask them. If they out there and they see it, then boom. If they your friend, they gonna do that for you. You know what I mean? They not going. They not. You don't have to worry about that. They gonna be on your joint, yo. Because all that shit matter, right? It all matter. It helps. Engagement helps. So why wouldn't your friends want you to get that help? What you gonna do? Not be their friend no more? That's corny. What people think that once you in a certain position and you get to a place of notoriety, you're gonna start hanging with more people that have notoriety already? They already look, those people be corny as shit too. Like, listen, people look, because somebody a little celebrity don't mean they cool, yo. Like, we don't want to get out here and be wanting to hang with people because we seen them somewhere on TV or on a computer. That's not what we getting out here to get to. We trying to change lives. We talking about, look, y'all got to pay attention. It's a lot of shit going on. So look, let me get into some of my topics, all right? Because look, at the end of the day, you know, people going to play with your top if you let them, right? Your top got to be in the way. So look, all right, we've been going through a lot of different things, and I'm saying, like, when it comes down to people protecting their own, it's a certain level of what people are willing to do. And I want to just say this, like, yo, you got to be one of them people that feel that way as well when it comes to the things that you believe in. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be willing to protect it. Protect it to the point where you got to do stuff maybe in a metaphoric sense of how you know how hard you got to go or how strong you willing to go. But check this out. So look, the U.S. government, they were saying, like, listen, we don't want y'all coming through the border like y'all been coming through illegally. You want to come through the right way. We'll take you through the process and boom, boom, boom. If you could get in, you could get in. If you can't, you can't. But you got to come in the right way. The people was like, nah, we still going to do it. So they still was trying to cross the Rio Grande. Look, push come to shove, somebody had the drones, you know, because, you know, people be having the drones and they be flying around because they be wanting to watch and see what's going on. Well, out of nowhere, somewhere, somebody then dropped off some alligators in the Rio Grande. Now, listen, y'all, let's be real. There wasn't no alligators in that part before, right? There wasn't none in there before. Not there because people was coming through there. So it wasn't none there. Now it's mad alligators out there. So you take your ass through the Rio Grande if you want to. You are alligator food. Facts. And they talking about, they reporting it to the point where the alligators already been catching people who didn't believe the hype. So look, and that's just basing. And most people are saying it has to be the U.S. government because who else is going to do it? You know, Mexico said that they was helping. You know what I mean, to keep the border the way it's supposed to be. But you know good and well they not putting no alligators out there because of how things move around in Mexico. You know that. You know what I mean? They ain't put up no wall or no barbed wire, nothing. You already know Mexico ain't with all that. So it got to be us out here in these streets dropping off alligators in spots. But if you kind of put that into a perspective, you got to be willing to protect your shit any kind of way. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you think it's inhumane or not, that ain't my point. That ain't my problem either. Because, you know, I'm not getting in the Rio Grande. I don't give a damn what was going on. Word. There was no need for nobody to be going through the Rio Grande in whatever situation you in, unless, like you saying, dire straits, you're trying to get out of hell, so to speak. Then yeah, I guess so. But you're gonna have to be a crocodile hunter to get across now. So, you know what I mean? If you don't know how to do that little spin and move, you might want to, relax a little bit going through that Rio Grande, yo. Fact. So be careful out there. I just wanted to make sure that y'all knew that, just in case y'all have some people out here that y'all said they was like, forget all that shit Trump talking about. I'm coming anyway. I don't know if you want to tell them to go that way at all. Because we see people out here fighting for people, right? You got the Democrats out here physically fighting the police and all that. The ICE people trying to tell them not to take people. I bet, Listen, people out here fighting people for real, for people to stay. You know what I'm saying? So look, if you're going to fight for them, good. If you want to try to tell them how to get through here, you might not want to tell them to go that way because they ass is food. Word. Boom. Another thing I want to talk about. Now, this one right here, this is a little different, but I want to make sure, if those of y'all that's watching, I need y'all to get in the comments and help me to understand this because, the whole situation with Carmelo Anthony and the young man that he stabbed or whatever and he died and stuff like that. I don't know if nobody else is paying attention to this, man, but they doing some shit on purpose. Like, this is really just so blatant of what they doing out here, yo. Like, they really trying to start a race war on purpose. And this is corny because, look, man, just to say that, Carmelo Anthony was a really bright kid and he was smart and all that other shit, and I believe it. And he did enough up until this accident that he was going to pass regardless of what was going on. Regardless of what people say, I get that too. But in the event that they trying to publicize everything that this young man is supposed to be getting and all these things that's going on, it's like really just sickening how they doing that, man. And now they trying to throw it out there about, him getting a diploma and all this other stuff. But the young man that got stabbed, he would have been getting a diploma this year too, but he's not. Or no, not this year. I guess next year or something like that. I don't know. It's like it might have been this year too. But either way, it's just not cool, yo. Like, we shouldn't be glorifying murder no matter what, yo. Like, regardless, even in self-defense situations, if that's what y'all feel, it doesn't look like that's what it is now. After all this evidence is coming out, it looked like he could have, avoided. Well, avoided it. Chose, a different approach. He could have just walked off if he, felt like, yo, forget that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It's just a lot of other things I guess he could have did. But for some reason, Lil Man was in a position where, he was going to poke something that day, yo. He had it on him. So he had to be in a position where he was going to do something to somebody. It just so happened to be who it was. And in this position, it's looking bad out here on us, man, because it just looks like we nothing but just a bunch of angry people. And we get it. Right? We get it. We have a history of being done wrong. I get it. We got a whole history of just being treated like shit, less than people, inhumane. Like, yo, I get it. Like, in all aspects. Not only did we have to go through the slavery, we went through the segregation, we went through Jim Crow, we went through all these different things, right? We still got things we picking up the pieces from. I respect that. I know all the history of our people too. And I also know this too. As much as we want to look at one group of people for what happened to us, you can't really say that because, in my opinion, I don't believe all of us that are here that look like me was brought here on those ships. To be honest with you, I don't believe that. Right? They have an intertransatlantic slave trade that went on just in this continent. I mean, sorry, in the whole jump off from North America and the whole thing, that whole Eastern Seaboard, they had more, records of ships coming from one end to the other than they did from anything coming from over Europe and all that other shit, or coming from Africa. You know what I'm saying? They had a few things that came through here from the Caribbean or whatever, from people that might have been picked up from Africa. But either way it go, yo, we can't be just mad at one group of people, because the people that got bought and sold over there that did come on Africa and made it to all these other places, you know what I'm saying? Think they they were sold by other people that look like them, yo. Word up. They were sold by other people that look like them, period. So we can't be sitting up here acting like that. And then over here, yeah, it's a lot that went on over here, yo. And it was a lot of white slave masters. But guess what? It was some black ones too. So do you think when it comes down to reparations, we give a damn about the color of the master? Like, we should really be focused on who the color of the master is? We don't give a damn about what the color of the master is. Yo, listen. Yo, y'all separated families. Y'all did all kind of just traumatic shit to people. A group of people who built this place for free. I don't know if y'all understand that or not, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of things that we have built for free. Look, it's a lot of people right now who paying rent in places that they family probably own and they don't even know. Look, it's just a lot that has gone on, and if nobody don't want to say it, then I'll just say the quiet part out loud. Like, look, this ain't about the color. Like, yo, it's about what happened to a group of people, and it's so easy for them to prove who the descendants of those people. It's just easy to do. Like, it's not like you got to worry about all this. If there's people that came over here from Africa, that's African American, whatever that is, you could tell by their name. Their name ain't nothing but consonants. They ain't got no vowels in their name. Then that's them. But all of us who have all the ethnic first names and middle names we want, but them last names be European. Y'all know the vibe. Y'all know the vibe, yo. It might not be important to everybody, and that's cool. But the fact that they not gonna give us stuff till we don't figure out till they figure out that we don't need them. So until y'all get together and start understanding how to move around here like they do, then you gonna continue to get your ass to kiss. They not giving y'all no reparation. And I'm saying y'all is the people who are looking for it. If you are one of those people that are looking for a reparation from somebody to give to you, it's not coming, because reparations can't come into the form of money when it come to us. They gotta give shit back. You know how many museums will be empty? You know how many do you know what that means? Like, when they say reparations for a group of people that was already here before they got here, that they took from and they changed their history. Stop playing with me, yo. Anyway, y'all go out there, y'all continue to play with it like that. But this whole thing with the whole black versus white thing and everything else that they doing, and they keep pumping it up like Joe Button out here, they keep doing it and keep doing it. And I'm telling y'all cannot fall for the bullshit. Right? Y'all, come on, don't fall for the bullshit. You already know they got technology that can put holograms in the sky. Don't y'all fall for this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't fall for my man coming through on the cloud and then all these up. Don't fall for the shit, yo. Like, listen, this is just I'm just putting it out there. It's up for y'all to take in what you want and leave out what you want. I don't care. But right now, I don't think that we should be celebrating murder on any aspect, right? So, Carmelo Anthony, you know what I'm saying? He might not need to get no diploma. And if he do, it ain't my business. It's cool. But what I'm saying to you, we don't need to be broadcasting nothing that he got going on over there. Period. Right? Well, we got to understand, like, the victims are both people, but in this case, somebody lost their life too as well. So, yo, that man he got a different type of life going on. The fact that he had to carry a knife, I don't see nobody getting into that, but I guess that's not important right now, right? But anyway, we can't fall for that. All right, look. So let's talk about a couple of other things, and one of these things I think that's really important is that, Android and Apple phones, iPhones or whatever, they just cornered the market, it looks like. And I wondered why in our community that a lot of people didn't become competition when it came to cell phones. But the operating system that these cell phones work on is either, the Android system or the Apple system, right? So then I'm thinking about it. At one point, they used to have all kind of other phones. They used to have Motorola's. They used to have, I think Google got some phones and all that other shit out there and all that. But what I'm thinking is, yo, this is crazy because now they got people getting voice text scams, right? Where it's like people it sounds like the person because they're using AI and they're scamming people. They're texting people voice messages about certain things and they're getting you to do it. And the craziest part about it is that when they get you on the phone, they're trying to make it seem like, this is something that was like a breach or something. Like, yo, your joint got caught. Look, you call us now so we can figure this out. You call them and then they like, yo, your joint was breached. This is what's going on. They already got all your information. So it make it sound like they really are legit. And then they give you this new thing to say, hey, transfer your stuff over here. That way you don't have to worry about that over there. You need to do that now. Here's a new link. This is totally secure. They hitting people with all that, boom, and they robbing you. So be careful. You know what I mean? iPhone users, y'all really be careful because y'all phones are taking pictures of y'all every few seconds and you don't even know. It's an infrared camera that's inside your phone that's taking pictures of you every few seconds. So if you're wondering, about certain things and the way AI is moving around, this is how they're able to get AI smarter because they're using the phones to do that. But in iPhones specifically, they have infrared cameras that are inside the phone that whether you got the phone up or down or whatever, it's still taking pictures of you as long as you got it next to you in a place that is taking pictures. So I'm just letting you know. People be winding up on the dark web and stuff and not knowing how is because people are hacking into your phone. Remember, yo, listen, if they could hack into a Tesla to see who was sitting in there when the people bombed it and did all the other shit, trust me, they're going to use your phone, yo. So be careful out there. Also, before I get into this other thing I want to talk about, I want to talk about this too. Some of y'all just don't got shit else to do with y'all time, and I understand that. But y'all got to find something else to do. Why do y'all have the real Annabelle doll on tour? Like, what's wrong with y'all, yo? Like, word is born. They done made movies and all this other stuff about this doll. Now, the one thing about this doll, yo, like I said, they not saying that the doll is just like a omen or some shit. They're saying that the doll is possessed. Like, yo, the joint been in a position for a long time where Ed and Lorraine Warren, they had priests coming there every so often praying and doing all this other stuff with a lot of their artifacts that's locked in that room. And yo, it's crazy. People are actually taking this joint on tour. Like, why would you be wanting to play around with some shit like that? Like, what makes y'all think that it's not a such thing as evil out here? Y'all not seeing how we being treated? Y'all not hearing about what's going on with the food? Y'all not hearing about what happened with the jab? Y'all not looking at how the towers fell? Do that look like planes brought that down? Like, y'all not paying attention to a lot of things going on out here? Whoever in charge, they cannot be human at all because the way that they doing people out here is crazy. Like, yo, there's no way. They doing all of this stuff, gene therapy, putting all this stuff in jabs and giving it to babies. And, it's so much stuff going on right now when it come down to this stuff, yo, that they're doing to people, keeping people sick, right? Just to make money off of you. Putting you in a position and giving you, and you know what? All the companies are in cahoots. That's why I say for you all out here that's not focusing on your freedom and focusing on your life is different from me because all of them work together. You work for a Fortune 500 company, all right, let's just say it's a financial institution, whatever, I don't care what it is. You work for them and they pay you, they got this, oh, we matching your insurance, we pay your insurance and and all this other stuff, and y'all think y'all doing something. Look, they get kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies just like the doctors get kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies just for you being sick and them putting you in a position where you look like you got some type of help just so you could keep going back and forth to the doctor and keeping yourself in a rotation. They're going to continue to make money and these people get kickbacks. What do you think be going on in these golf courses when these big CEOs be out here chopping it up like they do? If it wasn't for crypto, a lot of people wouldn't even be understanding like how they could have financial freedom right now. Because look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know if y'all paying attention or not, but yo, look, everything is coming down, yo. Interest rates are not down yet, but they're gonna come. And when them interest rates come, like, listen, this ain't financial advice. Y'all do all y'all research, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Y'all know this sparking conversation. I'm gonna put y'all on. Yo, listen, those those interest rates gonna come down, y'all. And when they do, what you think they're gonna do? They're gonna start printing that money again. Now, remember, all the money that they've been printing ain't doing nothing but been devaluing the dollar in the first place. And most people don't understand deflationary, because if y'all understood, like, yo, we got to put our stuff in play, things that don't depreciate in value. So, a lot of the people who are, in more of the wealth space, they be investing in rare metals, gold, silver, platinum, copper, all that other shit. And they put their money in those places, especially gold, right? And then Bitcoin has become the new digital gold, right? So you got all these big major institutions that whatever is going on with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency right now is not because the public is involved in it. Yes, there are a lot of people in the public that are involved in investment. I get that. That's not what I'm saying. Retail, I'm talking about the average everyday Joe, the person that's going to work right now. They got a 401k, they got a state this, they got a matching account that, this, that, and the third. Whatever that thing is that your company offers, they got you all in the stock market. They ain't got you all in the crypto yet. But y'all think about what happens with cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is not just, because they call it currency, it's not just about money. Money is not currency. Currency is a flow. Like, if you think about currency, you got to think about currents. Currents are a flow. That's the root word of currency. It's current. It's the flow. It's a flow. It's like the currents of water. It's a flow. It's what makes things flow. That's what money do. Money don't do shit but make shit flow. You want to be able to go flip your light switch on and the light come on, you better pay that bill. That made that electricity flow, didn't it? You want to go take a shower, but you want the hot water to come on, you want that water to come out, pay that bill, and guess what? You got the water flow. If you hungry and you want to cook, I could keep going on, right? I don't got to do that. Currency is the flow, right? So listen, if they're going to keep doing that and things are going to keep devaluing the dollar, then what you got to do with the dollars that you're giving? I mean, you got to put it in a place where it's not devaluing. And most people don't understand that. And that's what cryptocurrency is. It's not about spending money. Some of these things are places that is going to be used, right? Like for other different things like that is going to be based on everything. Because look, if the United States is the number one and China is the number two holder of Bitcoin, what do you think that means? That means that if the dollar crashes, what they're going to do? They're going to set up a digital currency that's backed by what? Backed by Bitcoin, the digital gold. And if they have that, that means that only a certain amount is going to be in value. That means that each Bitcoin is going to be a certain value, right? So that means that there'll be people out here, if you're smart, if you're doing it now, you'll be able to own bits of that, like small pieces of that. You don't have to go out there. Bitcoin is $100,000. You don't got to go pull $100,000 out your pension or some shit like that to go get a Bitcoin. You don't want that. You could start as little as $10 if you want to. You got to think about it. Whatever percentage that the money that it goes up, that's how much you put in there. The percentage is going to go up. You just got to look at it from a hustler standpoint, right? You can't look at it from, oh man, this is what it is. And then think about this. If they say that's a store of value, then that means that they're going to have digital currencies to spend. So if it's a place where people are not going to be able to control it because they can't control what's on the blockchain. The only people that can control what you have on the blockchain is the people that control what they're giving you. So if you're a person out here, you got all your money in the bank, you don't have no cryptocurrency of your own, you don't understand it, you don't know nothing. If the dollar crashes, they're going to be like, don't worry about it. The equivalent of your money, we're going to give you that in digital currency. I bet. Here's your bank account, here's your thing, and here's your money. And then now you cross the street wrong. They're like, all right, I took $20 out your joint. You park somewhere. You ain't got to ever worry about them not taking the money for your parking ticket or anything now, because everything is on camera. Right? And then they got access to your money because they giving you the money digitally. So what they gonna do? They just gonna start taking shit from you. You gonna be looking at your account like, yo, what happened? It's like, oh, we caught you jaywalking the other day. Here's the video. Bam, that's $10. Word? So a lot of y'all gonna fall victim to that. And I understand that's a bit extreme, but that's what I need y'all to get into the mindset of now. That means you gotta jump on that shit now. Understand the difference between what they talking about. When people talk about Bitcoin, that's one thing. When people talk about Ethereum, that's another thing. When people talk about XRP, that's another thing. When people talk about Solana and Cardano, those are other things. When people talking about meme coins, those are other things. You just gotta do the research to figure all these things out. And then all these things are going to work together for you to be able to have financial freedom. You just got to be willing to do that. Right? You got to be willing to think that way. Like, okay, bet. If they're going to be having it already, going to give people, then no, I need to have my own over here. Because if I'm investing in it now, by the time it gets to that point, that means that whatever is out there is going to be here. Right? It's down here right now. That means that when it gets to the place where it's fully adopted all around the world, digital currency, then whatever you invested in digital currency, you know what that's going to be worth. You know what you'll be sitting on. And then you can have private keys. You can have your own private wallet where it's not connected to the computer or not connected to the cloud or any of that other shit on nobody website and nobody exchange. You can have it just sitting in your house like in a vault somewhere. Like you just got control of your money. You want to buy, spend, go. You can do what you want. There's nobody that can control you and tell you what you can and cannot do. That's the difference in between you saying you're gonna go to work and now you didn't pay attention to crypto before it became mainstream, and then now they're giving you the CDC because that's what it's going to be called, centralized digital currency. They're going to give you that, and then now they're going to just be controlling you, and then they can control what you buy too, so you will not be able to buy crypto. Think about that. They could turn that off to where now you can't invest in crypto and then go out there and be out there in the space where you can be free and move around like that because they cutting your shit off. They blocking your joint because you fell into that space. Because people are not paying attention because somebody told us, right? Somebody told us that freedom, that we were already free. Somebody lied to us and told us that. You know, when they did all these things, they said that to us, but nobody told us about financial freedom. They told us about that we ain't have to walk around here in the shackles, right? They told us that we ain't have to go nowhere and work for free. And we thought that was free, but no, think about it. All the slave masters, the fact that they have slaves, it didn't make them that's what it was. What it made them was financially free. That's what having slaves make them financially free. So what do you think that the people that own these big corporations have for everybody that go to work? Now you get paid, but it's still making them what? Financially free. That's the part about freedom that they never taught us. Nobody never taught us about our financial freedom. Nobody let us know that that's the main part of being free is to be free financially, not to count on somebody else for your three major things: food, clothing, and shelter. As long as you're in control of that, you're in control of your life. If you can only control these things by going to a 9 to 5, then the 9 to 5 is in control of all three of these things, not you. Sorry, I know you feel like it's all in you and what you do, and you know it's not. It's not. It's not. Because what people don't do is that they don't take that stuff. So even with the content blow up, and you making money off the content, then what you doing with your profits? You're supposed to be putting that in places that don't depreciate. I mean, that's what you do, right? You get cash life insurance policies. You do all these. You do all of the things that you need to do in order to secure your bag to where your bag just ain't jumping out the window all the time. That's not what you do. So yeah, these are things that we all should be on, right? But right, like I say, on Spark Conversation, you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna chop it up and we're gonna put it in this perspective for people to have a conversation. That's what we want y'all to do. We don't want y'all to sit around here and not know something, or you run across my content or anybody's content for that matter, and they throw something out there. You just gotta go out there and do your little research. Like Fredro Starr from Onyx said, do your Googles, yo. Do your Googles and you're gonna find out a couple of things, right? But let me say this real quick before we go, because I thought this was very important. You know, they've been contemplating this supposed to be this thing called the Big Beautiful Bill. The Big Beautiful Bill, right? They've been talking about this for a while. And what this big beautiful bill is supposed to do, this is the bill that that the president is putting into play that's supposed to help the people. And with this comes these large tax cuts, these tax incentives for working people, and then a lot of other little things that go on with you for those that make under a certain amount of six-figure dollar. But let me tell y'all about something that people wasn't reporting on that I found some information about that I thought was really important, and I don't understand why they didn't think about that. So in this joint, it's called the MAGA Baby Savings Account. So for any of y'all that's watching right now, if y'all heard of that, yo, you know what I'm saying? Put it in the chat that y'all heard of that. But it's called the MAGA Baby Savings Account. And what that does is that any child that was born before 2024, right? And you get $1,000. Like, listen, so what they're going to do is they're going to set up the savings account. The government is going to set up the savings account for your child. They're going to start it off with $1,000, right? It doesn't mature to the age of 25 where you can access the account, and then the age of 30 is when they can take everything out. At the age of 25, you can start withdrawing from things. You might have to give a certain reason why you're pulling certain things out or whatever, but you can start accessing the money. But at the age of 30, you can pull anything out for however much you want. But they starting off with $1,000. The government gonna start you off with $1,000. Now you are allowed to put up to $5,000 in that account of pre-tax dollars a year. Now think about that. So the government gonna put 1,000. You can put up to 5,000, which means that you can help invest into your child's future. So by the time your kid get 25, your kid, and they said 25, so that means that they gotta go through. If they're gonna go through college and all that other stuff, that's what they gotta do. But when they get out, then they're able to do what they need to do. Now think about this shit, y'all. You know. You know how many kids wound up in the system? All right. So I just want y'all to think about this. This is how fly this part of that bill is. And I know a lot of people probably don't like the president and all that other stuff. That ain't my business. I don't care. Neither, especially for those that look like me, we should be bipartisan anyway. We shouldn't be one side of the wing or not, the bird or whatever you want to call it. We shouldn't be left or right. We should be right in the middle. Like whoever gonna do what they gonna do what you say you're gonna do, and let's rock. Like that's what we should be. Like we should not be one for the other, because come on, y'all, let's be real. But anyway, that's my personal opinion. But either way it go, you don't have to like them. But damn, the cat doing everything that you would want a person to do in that position. If you putting it in this place that you can do that for your kid, you got to think about it. Like if your kid, you got a newborn baby right now, like in 2024, you got a kid. Your kid might be 2. Your kid, listen, you getting a $1,000 savings account for your kid that you can access and you can put money into yourself a year. Right now, mind you, the tax credit that you're going to be getting extra thousands of dollars a year, just depending on what your salary is based on the tax cuts that you're going to be getting. And you're going to get a higher tax credit for having children. So it's really no excuse for you not personally, you yourself, to be able to add a few dollars here and there to your child's savings account without you even having to worry about that. And remember, it's going to be, they starting it off for you no matter what. So even if your kid just chilling, at that, whatever the percentage is, whatever the rate that it'll mature, because it's going to do interest. It's a savings account, so it got to have an interest tied to it. So the longer it's sitting there, which 25 years is the minimum, it's still be collecting interest and whatever you putting in there. Like, think about that, yo. Setting your kid up, yo. That's fly. And that's something that nobody was talking about. People not putting that out there because they're too busy being against somebody. They're not even looking at the fact of how you could bless your kid. Now imagine that. Like, imagine you got that health savings account for your kid. That savings account for your kid, right? And then that's in there. You starting it off. Now at least for the next 4 years. Like, listen, you not investing in crypto would be a travesty. For those of you that's watching right now, if y'all let the next 4 years go by, y'all ain't jumped in, yo, it's bugging. If y'all let the next 90 days go by, y'all haven't paid attention enough to figure out where you can put you some change at, y'all bugging. Y'all honestly bugging. Because I'm telling you, if they get in control of everything that you're able to do, where they can control you through your money, it's a wrap. You're going to be terrible. You're going to feel terrible. Mm, because I understand, but I don't. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't understand why people are not looking at that. Financial freedom is our way to freedom, and that's the one thing that's been held from us the most is financial freedom. Because if you guys think about that, if people had that as a motivation more than they had trying to be in places, trying to have the latest this, that, and the third, wondering what name is on your sneaker and all this other shit. Like if people really had that in mind, that they will take a small amount of time to go through a small storm in order for them to live the rest of their life in a nice paradise. It's just whatever you choose to do, you know. And I just want to be a person that motivates people, right? I just want to be a person that motivates people. I don't want people to be in a position where they just listening to somebody talk. Like I just want to motivate people. Like, look, lead the people to the water, but that's the part. You know where the water at. It ain't about making them drink. They talking about you can lead the horse to water, you can't make him drink. Shit, you know where the water at though? Come on, yo. You know how many cats don't know where the water at? So look, either way it go, I ain't gotta make you drink. I'm just saying, here go the water. That's just it. You know what I'm saying? Here go the water, y'all. You don't want to drink, that's fine. If you thirsty or not, that's fine. You know what I mean? But here's the water. You know what I'm saying? You can't be around people. You can't be around a whole bunch of people and complain about problems and not want the solution. You can't. You can't look for the weekends to be the thing, the time that you do everything. You need a solution to that. And how are you going to do that? You got to get your time back. So if you only can cram things on the weekend and you having a problem with weekends working out the way you want to, then you should want to do something about that. That I mean, you the only person that can change your circumstances unless you're waiting on somebody outside of you to do it for you. Other than that, you got the power to change your own circumstances. It's going to take some type of sacrifice. For all y'all that got degrees, y'all should understand what it takes to, for sacrifice. You should understand it. It's no different than nothing else. If you got a degree, then you should understand sacrifice. I mean, if you're around other people that's putting in the work, they sacrifice it, you should understand it because you yourself had to sacrifice in order to get that degree, especially if you got master's degrees and stuff like that. Like, stop playing. A lot of y'all be putting people down because they're not doing what you doing. Like, you doing something better. You ain't doing nothing but remembering shit. All of y'all that going by your degrees and stuff, you're just a good memorator. You could remember stuff. That's all that makes you good at. It don't mean that you're smarter than the person who don't have those degrees you got. That's corny. You know what I mean? That'll always get you in a world of what you don't understand. If you think that your degree makes you smarter than other people, it don't. It just means that you can remember things really well. I don't care what you say. You can't get your diploma without passing the test. You can't pass the test without remembering what the hell you was in the lessons are. So yeah, you got a good memory. But anyway, yo, listen, that's my time for the week, yo. I bet. So I want y'all to make sure y'all come join next week. Now, next week I got a really good show next week, right? We talking ownership. That's what I love to talk. We talking to my man, like yo, a vineyard, people that make their own wine, black owned, own a bunch of land. I mean, so much opportunity and things that they only man. Listen, yo, we about to really turn up, yo. Where we about to turn up, and that's gonna be a great show. So I want all of y'all that watch tonight. I want y'all to make sure y'all lock in with me next week, man. Y'all not gonna want to miss this. And make sure that when y'all see these clips pop up on your timeline, like them, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just like them. If you want to throw a comment, throw a comment. If you want to share them in one of the podcast groups, because you got, because I do kind of got a little potty mouth. So if you got Pastor so and so and Minister so and so on your main page and you don't want them to hear what I'm saying, you want them to hear what I'm saying, but probably not the way I'm saying it, then it's a whole bunch of groups in Facebook that has for podcasts and all this other stuff. You can join those groups and you can post in there. You can share my stuff in there. You don't even have to share it on your timeline. That way, the ushers and all the other people that's on your timeline won't get upset with you about thinking that you associate with a sinner like me, because hey, you know, I guess it could be considered that, right? But anyway, yo, I just want y'all to know, man, out there, man, a lot of things that I said tonight, I hope y'all do y'all research. I hope y'all pay attention to cryptocurrency. I hope y'all do not let the shit pass y'all by. I hope y'all understand that this is our reparation. I hope y'all understand how to invest in commodities. I hope y'all really pay attention to that too, because commodities are so important, because that's what the tariffs were all about. Commodities. That means that that's a place for us to invest in. Come on. How many people knew about that, yo? Our means to our end is going to come from us. It's not going to come from, somebody giving us something. It's going to come from us collectively using our brains for what they for, putting that out in the atmosphere and attracting what we need, right? We attract what we want. We don't chase shit. We attract what we want. We don't chase, but we go for what we're supposed to go for, and it just works out that way, right? In order for it to track, you gotta the opposite. You gotta go too. It's a pull and a push. That's all it is, right? It's a pull and a push. That's how magnets stick together, right? It's pull and push. They stick together. So, yeah. Well, I guess that's enough of trying to sound smart, and that's enough of trying to give it in. But you know what we do, man. Each and every week, man, we right here, and you know how we gonna give it up. So I want y'all to continue to join me each and every week right here for Sparking Conversation, where we gonna give y'all that conversation, and we hope that throughout the week that y'all have a great one, and we hope that y'all jump on my page, man, for real. If y'all know the vibes, man, follow me on Facebook or any social media platform that y'all on. All you gotta do is type in the hashtag Rah1, RAH and the number one hashtag, you'll find me. All right. Y'all make sure y'all check out that new short film comedy, Kill No One. It is definitely pinned to the top of my page on Facebook. Please support that joint, like it, comment, share it. Come on, y'all. Let's keep this art going. Let's keep, creativity going, and let's just keep supporting each other the best way we know how, especially for things that's free. It don't cost you nothing to share. It don't cost you nothing to like. It don't cost you nothing to comment. Now, if you don't like it, then I understand it, because art is subjective, right? But I'm hoping that you like it, and if you do, that's what I need you to do for me. All right. So I definitely appreciate y'all. To all of y'all that's going to join me next week, I'm telling y'all, it's going to be a great show. You don't want to miss it. And other than that, y'all continue to have a good one, man. Y'all have a great week. And y'all know how I say each and every week, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So until next week, peace.